Hi, this is Amy at Amy Common Sense Southern. I hope you're having a great day today. I'm excited to share with you some pork chops. They're going to be just as good as anything you could have from any restaurant. If you're also into the whole Weight Watchers world, one of these pork chops is only going to be about 9 smart points. So this is something you can definitely work in if you are watching because of the Weight Watchers aspect of it. But if you just want to know how to make a really great pork chop, keep watching. I have two gorgeous Heritage Farms pork chops that are a bone in. They're a little bit over an inch thick. I'd say maybe about 1.5 inches thick. And I'm going to season these up with some salt. And make sure you get that bone portion. Don't leave that part out. Some salt. A little bit of coarse ground black pepper. I'm also going to hit this with a little bit of garlic powder. And if that looks like a lot, that is okay. That is going to be really, really good. And some Italian seasoning. Now, I'm not telling you the exact amounts of this because it just varies based on how many pork chops you have and how highly seasoned you want your pork chops to be. I'm going to flip these over and do the exact same thing to the other side. Now that I have the pork chops well seasoned, I'm going to just rub those spices in a little bit on both sides. Because you're sprinkling, it doesn't go on exactly evenly. I just want to make sure that I get all parts well seasoned. I'm going to turn my oven to medium heat and preheat it to 350 degrees. And while my pan heats and my oven preheats, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the pan I'm using and why it matters. So this is an all-clad pan. It doesn't have to be all-clad, but I love this all-clad pan. Gosh, I've had this thing maybe 10 years and it still looks brand new, just like the day I bought it because I take really good care of it. I also have absolutely no nonstick cookware in my kitchen. I don't need it because of the techniques I use when I cook with this pan. Now, I have personal reasons why I'm not into nonstick cookware. Everyone has their own preferences and things, and that's a whole other video. But I just want to explain to you why we're not going to have issues with anything sticking. First of all is I'm going to let this pan heat up before I put anything in it. Not smoking hot. I don't want things to burn on contact, but I do want to let this pan warm up. Then once it's warmed up a little bit, I'm going to add about a tablespoon, probably not even that much, of a good olive oil. And I'm going to move that olive oil around the pan and then add my pork chops. These pork chops are going to sear 5 minutes per side and then go in the oven. That's one thing that's really important about this pan is that it's all metal, so the whole thing can go into the oven. It doesn't have any plastic parts. This is a pan that goes straight from stove into the oven. Now, if you don't have a pan like this, don't let that stop you from making the pork chops. Just sear your pork chops 5 minutes per side, and then you can just move them to a pan that's lined with foil and maybe spray some nonstick cooking spray on it and go right in the oven. The caramelization just won't be exactly the same. So that's a big piece to this, is having some kind of a pan that goes straight from from stove into the oven. A cast iron pan might work just fine and do the same thing. I usually don't do these pork chops that way, but that is certainly something you could try out. So I've been letting this pan heat up a little bit on medium heat, and in the 10 minutes it takes me to sear these pork chops 5 minutes per side, your oven should be preheated to 350. It'll then go into a 350 degree oven for about 25 minutes. Of course, the thicker your pork chops are, the longer you want to leave them in the oven. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of olive oil. Again, I don't really measure this. You don't need a whole lot because the fat from those pork chops will render. So as I've added this oil to the pan, I'm going to move this around a little bit, just to make sure it covers all surfaces of the pan. And now I'm going to add my pork chops in here, and I'm going to let these go 5 minutes per side. If you try to flip the pork chops in less than 5 minutes and you find they're pulling and sticking, that means they're not ready to be flipped yet. But usually 5 minutes per side will do it. Will do the trick. So I'm just going to put these in and set a timer, 5 minutes per side, and I'll show you what we've got in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes have passed and it's time to flip these pork chops. And before I started filming, I did pick them up just to make sure they're not sticking. And as you can see, they're not sticking, but I don't want you to get concerned about those brown bits. That is part of the goodness of this recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and flip these over and let them go another 5 minutes. The pork chops have cooked 5 more minutes on the other side. Now I'm ready to flip these guys over, and I'm going to put them in my oven for 25 to 30 minutes. I'll check them in 25 and I'll show you what we've got. Look how gorgeous these pork chops are straight from the oven. I cannot wait for you to see how they look plated with a side. Here's one of those gorgeous pork chops plated with a corn and spinach saute that I will show you in another video. But I hope you have enjoyed learning how I make my pork chops. And join me again for amycomments@southern.com, where I will bring you more WW tips and tasty recipes. Bye-bye.